Yeah, I believe I am live now. Hello, hello, hello. Another beautiful day, another day to just be grateful to be alive. Another Sunday, another episode. And I am just so excited to be here again. Today, on this side of the screen, it's me, myself, and I. And I will be looking at a topic called wicked problems. Now, if you're joining us for the first time or you're watching this replay, this is a show where we endeavor to be, to make change agents of ourselves, to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And of course, it's a platform where we also want to be awesome and wholesome together. So today, like I said, on this side of the screen, it's me, myself, and I. But I intend to have some fun with you. Now, our topic today is wicked problems. But before I go into that, I can see some people are joining us already. Let us see who's here and where you're joining from. We have Bosse on Facebook. We have Ronke on LinkedIn. Nice to have you here. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing all right. Nice to have you as always. So, we're looking at wicked problems. So, what is a wicked problem? My goal here today is to share some content with you, to share a tool with you, because after all, this platform is all about empowering ourselves. It's all about, promoting the growth mindset. I think someone else just joined us, and we have Victoria as well. Great, nice to have you here. Now, I'm African, Nigerian to be specific. And in Nigeria, we have a very, very popular saying. And it is that Wahala no dey finish. Wahala no dey finish. Meaning problems never end. Okay? Problems never end. So if problems never end, then that means we really, really have to find very creative ways to actually deal with these problems. Now, if we say problems never end and we actually, exist in a VUCA world, like we say quite often, meaning that the environment is volatile, it is uncertain, it is complex, and it is ambiguous, then we do have quite a challenge in our hands. How then can we really be resourceful to deal with problems within this environment? And another reason I am really looking at this subject today is that I'm of the opinion that, resources should not be wasted, especially, our resources, our capabilities as humans. It shouldn't be wasted. So if we are not able to identify wicked problems, there's a very high chance that we could be expending our energy, spending money, stretching ourselves emotionally and still not resolve those problems. So that is why I'm looking at this problem today. So it's a VUCA world. It's really, really complicated, complex out there. It's ambiguous, it's uncertain. So we really need to be resourceful in order for us to deal with these problems. Let me just go back to our audience. I see Natalie is here. Hello, Natalie. How are you? Nice to have you here. Thank you for being on the show last week. Thank you very much. You were my guest last week. So back to my banners. It is important that we identify wicked problems. So what is a wicked problem? A wicked problem is a problem that is impossible to solve. You can never, become successful at solving those problems. It just has so many causes. It's difficult to actually identify the root cause. As you try to solve the problem, it can morph. And as I'm talking about the problem morphing, I'm sure you're thinking of COVID as much as I am. Just like we had with the COVID situation. As they develop a vaccine for one strain, another strain is popping up. So the COVID situation is a typical example of a wicked problem. Now, we cannot solve a wicked problem, apparently. It is impossible to solve, but we can tame them with the right approach. And I got this from the Harvard Business Review. We cannot solve wicked problems, but we can tame them with the right approach. So, what are examples of wicked problems? Poverty. I'm sure we all know about that. We see people who fall in this category. We see, a lot of NGOs trying to attack poverty as a wicked problem. Terrorism is another one. And you will also agree with me that these are problems we have been dealing with for a very, very long time. We have been dealing with these problems for a very, very long time. And more recently, we have COVID. But with COVID, again, we cannot solve the problem, but we can tame the problem. So with COVID, we can tame the problem with vaccination. I think more people are joining us. Hello, mommy. Good evening. Nice to have you here. So COVID is a way through which we can tame our pandemic, right? By being vaccinated. Climate change is another one. It's another big problem we have been facing very, very recently. Politics, our personal development can be a wicked problem. Organizational strategy can be a wicked problem. Marriage, relationships. I hope that doesn't surprise you. Marriage, relationships, parenting. You can be a wicked problem for somebody else. I can be a wicked problem for somebody else. Okay, so this is why we're tackling these issues so that we can begin to be much more self aware that we are not part of the problem, but that rather we intentionally, choose to be part of the solution. That is what this is all about. We want to be intentional and we want to be part of the solution. In as much as we know that a wicked problem means that we cannot necessarily solve the problem. For example, poverty. I may not be able to solve poverty problem, but I could perhaps give my time to some NGO or perhaps support an NGO that is tackling poverty with my widow's mite, right? So these are little things we perhaps want to be much more aware of so that we are intentional about how we show up. So when we have a wicked problem, how are we approaching these wicked problems? I have another Facebook user here. I have Pastor Jonathan here. Nice to have you here. I have Osarubo. Nice to have you all here. And if you can just let us know where you're also calling from, that will be great also. Let us know where you're calling from. Where are you joining me from? So back on the topic of wicked problem. Marriage, a wicked problem. Relationship, parenting, a wicked problem. So as you can see, it doesn't always mean that a wicked problem is always a terrible problem. The whole idea of my engagement with you today is to share with you a tool of how we can show up and how we can begin to tackle these problems so that we can make decisions that can shift the needle. We may not be able to solve the problem, but we can shift the needle towards success as much as possible. So these are examples of wicked problems, and I have just talked about how it is important for us to identify wicked problems so that we can come up with strategies to tame the problem. So that we can come up with strategies to tame the problem because we cannot solve it, but we can minimize perhaps the impact or we can achieve some degree of success. And it is important that we identify a problem as being a wicked problem. If we don't, there's a very high chance that we're going to expend our time wrongly, spend money wrongly, invest our emotions, in a wasteful manner. And on this platform, it's all about the lean agile mindset. We don't like waste at all on this platform, especially when it comes to human capabilities. So that is why we are putting in the time today to understand wicked problems and to know how to deal with them. So how do we identify wicked problems? They are hard to determine the root causes. It's very hard to determine the root cause of a wicked problem. There are usually competing stakeholders, okay? And as you try to change a wicked problem, sometimes it can get worse. Like I said with the COVID example just now, as we're dealing with one strain, another strain emerges. It's almost as if, you just can't get to it. It's almost as if the problem is reading your mind, knowing the next move you're going to make. There is no one solution. There are possible solutions that can help move you towards success, not even solve it, not give you, a resolution, but help you move closer to success. And like I said before, it is constantly morphing from one state to another. So let me pause for a moment and let me ask you, are you dealing with a wicked problem currently? Are you dealing with a wicked problem currently? Take a moment to think about that possibility that you just might be dealing with a wicked problem and probably don't even realize it. Okay, Michael is joining from Kent. What a timely topic. Oh, that's interesting. I'm happy that you see the value in you being here today. Jide Luade watching from Lagos, Nigeria. That's fantastic. Nice to have you here. Watching from Lagos, Antilola watching from Lagos. Fantastic. Oh, nice to have you all here. So back to my banners. Are you dealing with a wicked issue right now? Issue, problem? I want you to take a moment and think about that. Are you possibly dealing with a wicked issue right now? You don't have to type it, but just hold that thought, because I'm going to share a tool with you that will help you begin to, attend to this wicked problem, differently and much more resourcefully. Okay? Now, so what is that tool? It is called adaptive action. Adaptive action, and I'm just going to bring the picture up here and then come back to my banner. There you go. It is called adaptive action, and as you can see in the word action, adaptive, meaning you also have to attack this problem in an iterative manner. In other words, in an agile manner. So when we talk about adaptive action, it's a set of questions, 3 questions. What? So what? Now what? What? So what? Now what? And as you can see in that diagram up there in the corner, it's an iterative process. It is cyclic. So when you get to now what, and you take action, that action does not necessarily solve the problem, but it takes you closer, and you can go back and look at the other questions you have asked yourself and see the next wise action to take. The next wise action to take. What does that do for us when we try to solve a wicked problem? It helps us identify patterns of our reality. It helps us identify patterns of our current reality. Let's see what our audience are saying. Well, it's difficult, Osarobo. A wicked problem is difficult to, let me just highlight what he's saying here. He says, figure out the root cause of the problem. It is difficult to figure it out. That is why it's a wicked problem. It's almost impossible to, figure out, okay, why is there poverty? There might be so many factors contributing to poverty. Let's talk about climate change, for example. Climate change is a huge wicked problem on our hands right now. What's the cause? So many. So when we talk about a wicked problem like climate issue, for example, today, we need to start asking ourselves, what can we do to make it better? Because we know we probably can solve it now. But what can I do that, contributes to some degree of success in, the issue of climate change? How about when you go shopping, you don't use disposable bags, but rather you use your reusable bags? If we all start doing that, that is some degree of success towards climate change problem. So, Sarobo, it is difficult to put a finger on the root cause. There are usually different variables at play. Okay, I hope that helps. Ronke says she loves the topic. I love it too, Ronke. I absolutely love it, because at some point in our lives, we've all dealt with wicked issues where we have expended our resources, where we have, we were not, should I say, we were not well informed. I mean, you know me, Ronke, you're close to me. You know, I'm all about content. I'm all about development. I'm all about helping people not make the mistakes I have made where possible. Okay? Where possible. And this is the beauty of the internet today. We can all come on the internet as a platform or on social media platform and talk about things we're passionate about. Okay? I don't need to go to Channels TV. I don't need to go to BBC. The platform, it's all there. The social media platforms are there. If we're passionate enough about something, it's there for us to use to educate and inform people. It's there. So yeah, I'm here to share this content with you today, this tool with you today, because I find it so useful. I wish I knew about this tool 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Just like a few days ago, a friend and I were talking about mentoring. When we were growing up, coaching and mentoring, it wasn't in our vocabulary. It wasn't at all. But thanks to social media, I mean, I often say that the internet is a university. Nobody has any excuse today. Nobody. Nobody, because there are so many people out there like me sharing content. Okay. So nobody has any excuse for lack of development at all. So back to my banners, I'm just going to go to what. Now, when we say what, it helps us identify patterns of our current reality. What is happening right now? You want to identify the pattern. And sometimes all these repeat patterns are happening right in front of us, but we are not, we're not paying enough attention and we're not asking the right questions. We are not asking the right questions. What helps you identify patterns of your current reality? Then the next question, like I said, there are 3 questions. So what? So what? When you say so what, when you ask that question, you're trying to make sense of those patterns that you have just identified. Sense making of the patterns you have just identified. And the last question, now what? Here you are now trying to take action. You are trying to now take action. What? So what? Now what? You have identified the patterns, you've made sense of the patterns, and now you want to take action so that you can begin to attend to the wicked problem and move closer to success. You will not be 100% successful. You will not solve it, but you will move closer to success. It is about the next best action to take. The next best action to take regarding the wicked problem you're facing. Regarding the wicked problem you're facing. And as you can see in the picture, up there, it's a cycle. It doesn't end with your first action. It doesn't. It does not at all end with your first action. That is your first iteration. So it is, very flexible in nature. It is an agile approach also to resolving issues. That is your first iteration. So when the needle moves a little bit after that first action, you go back again. Now that I have done this, now that I have this outcome, what again? You go through that cycle again. Now what's the reality again? So what? How do I make sense of what I am, what I have identified, having moved? Remember, you've gone through that cycle already. This is the next cycle. And you keep going through that cycle. And it takes you closer and closer to your success. Any questions? Any comments? Have you been able to identify any wicked issue you might be dealing with? Like I said, it could be personal development. We're going to go through personal development very shortly because I believe that is something that is quite generic to all of us. Let me know if you've identified anything and if this is beginning to make sense with us. I mean, if it is personal, you don't have to share it, but just let us know if this is making sense and if this is something that might work for you. So back to my banners. Let's take a wicked problem example. Let me go for something pretty generic. Something like, personal development, career, when you're at a career crossroad I mean, I know for a fact that I have been at a career crossroad. Okay, you could be, working. You're fed up with the job. You want a change. You want to go back to school. You want to go develop yourself, but you're not quite sure. And remember, like I said before, it's a VUCA world. Things are constantly changing. I mean, you could learn a programming language and then 6 months down the line, another programming language has come up. And then you go, oh. And the older we get, the more, the more anxiety when it comes to learning. The more anxiety when it comes to learning. But guess what? Our brain is a muscle. Our brain is a muscle. The more we exercise it, the more we task it, the better it gets. So don't feel any anxiety when it comes to um, personal development. So let us take personal development as a wicked problem because, like I said, this is something that can be quite generic to each and every one of us. So if you want to use the tool, it could go something like this. Before I do that, let me check the comment section. Okay. Okay, someone from Facebook is saying, I love this topic. Didn't know about this tool. Well, now you know. Adaptive action, but I think that is what I have used recently to deal with the wicked problem in my life. I'm so happy to hear that. So happy to hear that. Okay, so back to the example we're using today. What am I feeling? I'm at a crossroad, right? I want to change my career. What am I feeling? Because I would imagine that if I'm at a crossroad because I'm fed up with the work I'm doing, I probably go to work unmotivated. Okay, I probably don't want to get up on a Monday morning. As soon as Sunday is over, it's like, oh my God, Monday is here again, right? So what am I feeling? What do I want to do now? What do I currently do well and enjoy? What can I improve? As you can see, you're looking at your current reality and you're walking your way towards action. And then so what? So what options do I have? So what can I achieve? So what opportunities are available to me? Now you're slowly walking towards action because now you're inquiring. You're making sense of the patterns you have identified. So what opportunities are available to me? Because by the time you go to what and you identify those patterns and you start thinking what opportunities are available to me, when you get to so what, there's a high chance you'll be linking your strengths with the opportunities that are available to you. Or perhaps thinking of what else you could possibly do to take advantage of that opportunity. Now what? Now what opportunities can I exploit? You've looked at different opportunities. Which ones can you possibly exploit? Now what can I do to prepare? Perhaps you want to read a book or two. Perhaps you want to join some meetup groups. Perhaps you want to go for some training, right? Perhaps you want to enroll on a full academic course. Maybe I did. I did that a few years back, and I actually completed my MBA during this COVID lockdown last year. I completed it last year. I stepped up on it. Now, what opportunities can I exploit? Now, what can I do to prepare? Now, what else should I consider? Now, what? Now, what? What else can I consider? I'm just going to look at the comments again. I like the topic, wicked problems. Absolutely, Michael. Wicked problems, and they are just everywhere these days. We have wicked problems everywhere. Before you joined, I talked about how poverty is a wicked problem, politics, terrorism, wicked problems everywhere. Wicked problems everywhere. Is anyone brave enough to come and join me on this show? I'm happy. I mean, I'm on my own here today. Hopefully, I'm not doing too badly. But if anyone feels brave enough, if you feel brave enough to come and join me, I'm happy to take you on. Let's make it fun. If you are, I'm happy to. Oh, hello, Kat. How are you? Nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. Anyone brave enough to join me? I'm happy to share a link with you to come and join me. So, wicked problems, as you can see, it is important that we tackle, we identify, first of all, that we identify wicked problems so that we can be resourceful in the way that we approach a resolution. Because, like I said before, it's all about moving the needle. Thank you very much. It's all about moving the needle towards success. You can never fully resolve that problem. And Michael, I know when it comes to politics, history, it's almost as though you have a chip in your head. I'm sure you are probably having a light bulb moment right now, because I know you write a lot about history. You are probably having a light bulb moment right now, thinking, "Oh my God, we have been dealing with a lot of wicked problems." You may never have used that term, but I'm sure you have come to realize that there are a lot of wicked issues or problems in that space. And okay, so someone was commenting there. Okay. Yes, so we are dealing with a lot of wicked issues in our spaces. And like I said before, it is a VUCA world. It is a VUCA environment. And because it is a VUCA environment, we have to iterate. And we have to iterate because the problems are constantly changing and our solutions yesterday may not suffice today. Now, I have just used, let me sip some water. I have just used a personal example with the tool. Now, I'm not going to go through all of that with another example, but let's look at organizational strategy, for example. Organizational strategy is a wicked problem. It is also a wicked problem. I mean, if we step back a few years ago, a lot of organizations, they would go away for a week, 3 days, to come up with their strategic plan. They would plan for an entire year, and they would come back to the organization. They would have KPIs, and the whole idea for success would be to just follow the plan. We have this strategy, we have all this plan. Let's just follow the plan. But today, organizations have to be much more strategic. Today, we're talking about strategy agility. You can't plan for 1 year. I mean, organizations used to have 5 years strategic plan. And that is because the environment was pretty stable. We had a very, very stable environment. When we go back a few decades. Today, your innovations, what you innovated today will be obsolete tomorrow. Because as you're busy innovating, your competitors are also innovating. So you can't afford to rest on your laurels. So organizational strategy is a wicked problem. So you have to approach it with an agile mindset. You have to identify it as a wicked problem. A lot of organizations are yet to really see organizational strategy as a wicked problem. Those who haven't are still thinking in the old way, thinking, what, the environment is waiting for them. It isn't. So we need to ask ourselves, if organizational strategy is a wicked problem, how then do we approach it? So if it's a wicked problem, then we're talking about, what? We probably have, competing stakeholders. We are operating in an environment where the market, the industry is constantly changing. So we need to be very adaptable and flexible in making sure that we are experimenting. We are experimenting quickly to get feedback from our industry so that we can develop the right products or the right services. Okay, you may send me a link to join. Okay, you want to join me? Let me send you the link. I'm happy to do that. I'm going to invite you. Let's make this interesting. I've copied it and I am going to send it to you. Let me see. Bear with me. Give me 1 second. That should be interesting. I'm going to send it to you right away. Let's hear from someone else. It's much more interesting than having just me talking to you. So I'm just gonna try and get him here. Just about to send him the link. It's just coming up. I'm gonna send it to your WhatsApp. It's just coming up. Right. I have done so. I have done so. I have sent it to your WhatsApp link. So there you go. Hopefully you can join me. That will be awesome. And that's my brother, by the way. Isn't that cool? So if you can join me, that would be great. I've sent you the link. Did you get it? Let me know if you got it. So how are we taking this content in today? Let me hear from you. Give me some reactions. How well are you taking in this content? How useful might this be, for you? Let's have your engagement in the comment section. Okay, I've got a question. That's fantastic. Are wicked problems a symptom of another problem, or can it be standalone? It can be. It's not always standalone. As you're solving one problem, you can create another problem. You can even create another wicked problem. Okay, so it's not standalone. There are so many variables at play. So many variables at play. That's a good one. So many variables at play. And we can also be a wicked problem. For example, I could be somebody else's wicked problem. Someone else could be my wicked problem. Okay. I'm sure we've often heard that we can't change people. Okay. But how often have we, approached wicked problems resourcefully? And that is what this is all about. This is to enlighten us, get us informed so that we don't waste time, we don't waste resources, we don't expend our emotions on problems we cannot solve. On problems we cannot solve. If we are able to identify the problems, then if we know it's a wicked problem, then our mindset, our approach towards solving that problem becomes different. Let me see. Did you get the link? Yes, I think you did. So our approach towards that problem changes entirely. It changes entirely. And it just simply means we are less wasteful with our resources because we know exactly what to do now. If you didn't know before, now you do. Michael, did you get it? Davidson, this is an interesting topic. Yes, it is. It is an interesting topic. And, I felt it was a good one to come online and share. I often have guests on this show, but once in a while, I'm going to come on alone like this to share content that my audience can benefit from, content that can help you make amazing decisions to be, and really position you in that growth mindset and help you to be less wasteful. Michael, I sent you the link. Let me know if you're having problems coming in. Once you come in, all you have to do is just enter the studio. You need to enter the studio. Once you get in, you need to enter this. Oh, slow loading. Okay, it's got internet. Okay. Okay, you're in Denmark. I would imagine that the connection in Denmark is good. It's slow to load. Okay, that's a shame because Michael, he's my brother, but he's just he's something else when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to history, and he has just come to the realization that a lot of historical issues and issues we're still dealing with are wicked issues, and he would have loved to come online with me today to share some of his perspectives. I really hope he can join me because he's just, he's a library up here. He is a library up here. Okay, slow to load, no problem. So any more questions for me? Any more questions for me? while we hope that he can join. Any more questions at all? What action are you going to take now? Because that is the whole point. What are you going to do now? Get a jotter, get a pen and paper, and then I'm going to share some resources with you. Let me do that right now. I'm going to share some resources with you. Maya, if you're there, I think I shared the link. There's a website called Human Systems Dynamic Institute. Human Systems Dynamic Institute. Please go to that website, subscribe for their newsletter, and you'll be amazed what you would learn. You will be amazed what you will learn. Like I've said, nobody has any excuse these days. The resources are there. We just need to make time. And Michael is finally here. He's finally here. So go to that site and try and engage with the materials on that site. Okay, so let me bring him up. Hey, Michael, how are you? That's my brother right there. Can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me? I can see you right now, but I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Okay, yeah. Fortunately, I'm in a 3G environment in Copenhagen, Denmark. I thought they were more advanced than I can see here. The internet here is pretty slow. Yeah.
Oh, but luckily we can see you and we can hear you.
Yeah, thank
N-
you.
Now, you knew I was going to be talking about wicked problems today, and you took a lot of interest in that.
Yeah.
And of course, you are an avid writer. You are an avid writer, and you took a lot of interest in that because you felt what you were writing about sort of fell in that category. Now, introduce yourself very quickly.
Oh, my name is Michael. Michael of Yamada. What else? I'm just a human being. That's all. I'm the older brother.
So, give us your perspective on wicked problems.
Yes, I found it very interesting as I was in a conversation with you over this matter. Was it on Friday? Yeah, on Friday, when you talked about wicked problems, and a light bulb just went off in my head, like, hey, the Palestinian Israeli problem is a wicked problem. Very, very wicked problem. It has defied all kinds of solutions since 1948. And you know what? By some coincidence, here in Denmark, I had a taxi driver who took us around yesterday in the afternoon. And he was quite engaging. At a point, he introduced himself as Palestinian. I said, hey, I got you. I'm going to pay for your time because I want to be able to get your perspective. All right. Do I have like 2 minutes to talk?
You've
Do you
got
have
you've got you've got 5 minutes.
Okay, all right. And so I said, okay, I'll pay for your time so I can engage you and get an insight into the problem in Palestine, because for most of us outside, coming from a Christian background, we hear one side of the story. We are all in favor of Israel. We think everybody else is doing evil to Israel, and so we just stand firm against everybody else. But you see, the problem is more than that. So I wanted to get his solution to the problem. I said, okay, I want to give you the problem to solve. You solve the problem for me. And he goes, oh, we have to go back to 1948. 1948 was the partitioning of Palestine. They gave one portion to Israel and the other portion to Palestinians to build their own nation. They divided the land into two. Now, if you say, let's go back to Palestine, this is what happened at the time. When it was divided, the Palestinians refused. They said, no, you can't give Israel any portion of our land. The Arab nations said, no, you can't give Israel any portion of Arab land, because they now call that whole area Arab land.
We've lost you.
So what Israel now started to expand its territory. Okay. In 1967, again, they dared Israel by closing the Strait of Tenen. And what happened? Israel said, no, we have to have shipping coming to our country, shipping going outside our country. What happened? They went to war. They seized more land yet again. In 1973, Israel was fasting, Yom Kippur, just like Ramadan. The Arab countries got together and went to war against Israel. But America came in to help. rushing ammunition to them with these big jets, and Israel was able to overcome them. Not only overcoming them, they destroyed the Egyptian army,
Hmm.
and they were 48 miles to Cairo and within
Wow.
30 miles of Damascus. Now,
Wow.
over the years, they've captured more land and expanded their territory. How do you now want to solve the problem today?
Exactly.
Go back to
Exactly.
1948 is impossible. These are the
Exactly.
spoils of war. Now, to
Exactly.
tell you about how wicked this problem is, okay, Bill Clinton brought Ehud Barak, an Israeli prime minister, and the PLO chief, Yasser Arafat, together to say, look, we can solve this problem with a two-state solution, which was the other original thing that was proposed in
Post.
1948. But where do we start from? Okay,
Hmm.
Israel agreed. Let us give you East Jerusalem as capital of a future Palestinian state. Arafat said, no, we want everything. I mean, you can't want everything. You can't get everything. So
Yeah.
here we are. Arafat walked out of that deal. East Jerusalem was lost. The prospect of a new Palestinian state existing side by side Israel was lost. And a new prime minister comes on in Netanyahu, who is a hawk and is not prepared to give out 1 inch of Israeli territory. So here
Wow.
we are with the ultimate wicked problem of our lifetime that may never be solved.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you so much. I mean, that just goes to show that, humans are complex. We are very complex, and everything playing out around us is quite complex. I mean, this is not a political platform, but at the end of the day, that was a typical wicked issue that we have been dealing with for a very long time. Just like we're dealing with poverty, we are now dealing with climate change, we are dealing with COVID situation. So it's a problem that is going to be with us for a very, very long time. And that is why we're talking about wicked issues today. If we are going to be living with wicked issues, it is important that we are resourceful in the way that we approach wicked problems. I'm coming to the end of the show. Let me just look at this Mr. Wicked problem being discussed. Can't it be compartmentalized into physical and spiritual? This will assist in determining the type of weapons to be applied. Use appropriate weapon. Typical of a pastor. Pastor Jonathan here talking. And I have Lento. Hello, Mercy. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for making time to be here. I know you're a busy person too. And this is where I'm going to draw the curtain. This is where I'm going to draw the curtain. Thank you all very much. Please, like I said, visit this website. Resources, a lot of resources on there. Visit this website and you'll be happy you did. I'm going to call it an evening here. To all my audience, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you as always for joining me today. And next week, I have an amazing lady joining me next week. Let me just share her banner. I have an amazing lady joining me next week. It's quite a small banner, but I will leave the big banner with you. Diana Osage. Diana Osage. And we're going to be looking at why and when leadership is the impediment. That's going to be such an amazing topic, and you don't want to miss it. When leadership is the impediment. Even in our leadership, in our agile spaces, when we're going through agile transformations, leadership always think, okay, everybody needs to change but me. Everything we want to do is what we want to do to them but me. And coming from the industrial era, a lot of leaders think, the behaviors that help them to be successful during that era can still work today, but it can't. And because of all that mindset rigidity, we find that sometimes leadership is the impediment. And this is what we're going to be talking about. Michael, in the meantime, I'm going to say thank you to you. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me. Take care and enjoy the rest of
Thank
your
you.
stay.
You're welcome.
Of your stay in Denmark here. So we're going to have Diana Osage next Sunday. Please don't miss it, especially if you're a business owner, if you manage people, well, if you lead people, because we are trying to move away from managing people. We are trying to create leaders who think of themselves as gardeners. If you are a gardener, you will have different You will have different plants in your garden. You will have to tend to the different plants in your garden and, connect more with people. That is the kind of leadership we're looking for today. And I think I have more comments here. Um, Nana, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm happy you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. So I'm going to call it an evening. So have a fantastic Sunday and thank you for investing your 45 minutes with me here today. Bye bye. And I'm just going to leave Diana's banner with you so that you see the banner as we come to a close. Do I have it there? That's it. So see you next week. Bye bye.